genre.
Doctor Who, The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every single episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Nick Jimenez.
I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
And I'm Scott Corelli.
And today on the show, we will be discussing The Visitation, the fourth story of the Fifth Doctor, as iconically played, as always, by Colin Davidson.
Colin Davidson.
Is that not his name?
It's
What's
Peter.
his name? Pete Davidson. Oh, it's Colin Baker, Pete Davidson.
Yes.
Okay,
Peter
cool.
Davison.
I call him Pete.
Petey.
I don't think you have ever gotten his name right.
Which one?
Peter Davison.
Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Which it's a shame because
iconically by Colin Davidson.
Colin Patrick Fitz Davidson.
Colin
Colin.
David Baker.
Colin David Baker. Joe Don Baker. Oh, Joe Don Baker would be a great doctor.
Oh.
Scott, tell us about why this happened. So tell us about what.
Why did this happen? Back during the 18th season,
way back during the 18th season of the show.
Yeah, around 1980, John Nathan Turner was looking for fresh blood to write episodes of Doctor Who.
Sure.
And he was told by his, it was Bidmead, by Christopher Bidmead, who was the script editor at the time, that he was a big fan of a radio playwright and short story author named Eric Sayward. And he had primarily written thrillers in the audio medium and had never worked for television before. But when they reached out to him, Sayward agreed to develop a proposal for Doctor Who, and what he came up with was an episode entitled Invasion of the Plague Men.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually inspired by the work of his former girlfriend, who had been studying the architecture during the Great Fire of London. And he was like, oh, yeah, it'd be cool to set a Doctor Who story during that time period because you have the Great Fire and you have the bubonic plague happening right around that same time period. So, yeah, let's that's a cool hook. Let's do that. And then he also used it as an opportunity to bring in a character that he had created in several of his radio plays, a character named Richard Mace, who was a Victorian London detective. And he basically reimagined Richard Mace as a out-of-work thespian for Invasion of the Plague Men. Okay. However, when he turned in this proposal, John Nathan Turner read it and was like, this is crap. We're not hiring this guy. He thought that it was too much like Talons of Weng Chiang, which is, quote, exactly the kind of whimsical Doctor Who adventure that I want to get rid of. So, he was not hired. And then for a while, they went along without him. And then toward the once they started getting into season 19, basically they were out of ideas and like, well, let's go back to that Invasion of the Plague Men thing. And so they asked him to provide a detailed storyline, and he amended the title to being called Plague Rats. Which
Okay.
I can't imagine seeing the Doctor Who opening, and you get to the title, and it's just called Plague Rats. Plague Rats.
That's funny.
So also at this point, it was understood that Tom Baker would be leaving Doctor Who, so Sayward needed to be writing this for an as yet unknown fifth Doctor, along with the lineup of companions of Adric, Tegan, and Nyssa. So Sayward had to come up with a way to write all of those characters into the script. Finally, when he started writing the script and started turning in the actual episodes, he changed the title again, this time to The Visitation. Mm-hmm. And that's basically it. I mean, it he wrote this story, and then around this same time, Bidmead was deciding to leave, and suggested to Sayward that he should apply for the job of script editor. And as Sayward was trying to decide whether or not he would do it, John Nathan Turner gave the job to Anthony Root as a 3-month trainee. Anthony Root, who had no feelings one way or the other as far as whether or not this would turn into a real job, he took a different job on another production, so that at the end of his 3 months, he left the show, and John Nathan Turner needed someone else, so he thought, well, I guess we'll do this Sayward thing.
Bring him in.
A decision that I can't imagine he was thrilled with at the time or in the future, because they seem to grow to resent each other over the next few eras of the show. So, especially in the Colin Baker era, they seem to really not get along. Yeah, that's the sort of origin story of Eric Sayward as script editor, I think, following this episode, and his scripting thing. This is the only time that I believe he was ever given credit on a Doctor Who script, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
I think it's just this one.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he actually wrote this one as a writer, and as we know, at the time, script editors could not be script writers for weird BBC rules. They couldn't be credited. So.
Are there any other kind?
Yeah, true. And then as far as the episode itself, the only bit of interestingness is that John Nathan Turner spent a lot of money on the Terileptil costume because he was tired of people saying the Doctor Who monsters looked like pantomime horses. So they spent a lot of money creating a animatronic mask thing. Are you telling me that thing was expensive? Yeah, very.
Damn.
Yeah, very expensive. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. There's not a whole lot to this. I mean, the big thing that's important about this episode is the Eric Sayward connection. Oh, and then of course it was also John Nathan Turner's. It was his decision to destroy the sonic screwdriver. Yes. In this episode, which would be the last time we would see the sonic screwdriver until the 1996 TV movie.
And how he uses the crap out of that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we don't get it again. The idea was that he's like, well, I just think it makes it makes everything too easy for the Doctor, so let's get rid of it. And so, but okay, so he gets rid of the sonic screwdriver, but as a replacement, they come up with the idea that the Doctor just has anything he needs to solve any problem, just happens to have it in his pocket at any given moment. So, so he gave up a magic sonic screwdriver for magic pockets, I guess. But either way,
Just even less sci-fi than the sonic screwdriver,
Right.
which is basically magic.
right. So it's all very silly. John Nathan Turner, just in general, made a lot of really silly Doctor Who decisions, I think. So what are you going to do? So that's where we're at. The Visitation.
Yeah. Who do we want to start with? Who do we want to start with?
Well, we want to start with episode 1, not a Who, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
A Doctor Who.
The Visitation, Part 1. Written by Eric Sayward. Directed by Peter Moffat. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Anthony Root. Air date, February 15th, 1982. A 17th century family living inside a manor home is disturbed by an unwelcome visitor. Speaking of unwelcome visitors, back on the TARDIS, the Doctor chastises Adric about his behavior at the end of the previous story, Kinda, while Adric correctly assumes that Tegan is unhappy with him. Nyssa attempts to soothe Tegan, still recovering from her possession by the Mara and desperate to return to her home of 1980s Australia. The Doctor attempts to finally return Tegan home, but instead the group lands in Australia 3 centuries too early. They are soon attacked by villagers, causing the group to separate and Adric to stupidly drop his TARDIS homing device. The Doctor then encounters on the road a highwayman named Richard Mace, whose burgeoning acting career was put on hold during the bubonic plague. Richard Mace takes them to hide out in a barn, where the Doctor and Nyssa find strange power packs, and the group goes into the nearby manor to investigate. Inside the manor, they find more power packs, gunpowder, and what appears to be marks left by a high-energy weapon. Nyssa goes back to the front door to let the others into the manor, while the Doctor investigates a strange wall. When Nyssa and the others return, the Doctor is nowhere to be found.
So, I love that this story starts with family drama.
Yes.
Alcoholic father. The daughter doesn't seem bothered by this at all, but the son is very upset.
Yes.
About his father's drinking for medicinal purposes. But I really love that. And then I love the first person heavy breathing.
Yeah. That was in my notes too.
Yeah, kind of like John Carpenter, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. I also love they have like a butler, and the butler is the first person to run into the first person heavy breathing. And he screams. He's holding a platter of stuff. And he screams and then throws the platter of stuff at the thing.
I think
it's so good.
I think the intention was that he drops it, but he clearly, like, tosses it. Like a beanbag.
Yeah.
Just like, whoop, there it goes. It's really funny.
They all look like live action versions of the villagers in the Shrek movies. That's kind of like the vibe of pretty much every human in this story.
That you know what? I mean, that makes sense because well, I mean, we'll get to him. I don't think we get to him until part 2. But Heavy Breather, he's kind of Shrekish, to be honest.
He's Shrek-esque.
Yeah, he is Shrek-esque. He's just a fish armadillo looking for his Fiona.
Is that what it is? I've always thought they were like lizard things.
Well, he has gills on his neck.
He's like one of those. He's like a moray eel.
I just call him a fish armadillo.
Yeah, no, that's catchy.
He's got that armadillo back. You know?
He does have an armadillo back.
Yeah, and he's got the fish face.
Armadillos are the state animal of my home state of Texas.
That makes sense. That checks out. We do get introduced, though. While we don't get introduced to Fish Armadillo, we do get the robot that is just made of seemingly random parts. He's like if someone built a new robot out of a bunch of spare Alpha 5s from Power Rangers.
Like the ones that they had to shut down for being really violent. Or...
Yeah, right. Yeah, because he's just really just kind of haphazardly put together, which I'm kind of into, to be honest.
And he's bedazzled, he's got
very
fake
bedazzled.
gems all over it, and it's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He's very
Was that
glamorous.
expensive or just the fish armadillo mask?
I think just the fish armadillo.
Huh.
Because he has that
The
animatronic.
mouth.
He's got those animatronic lips. Yeah.
I can't imagine. It almost seems like this poor guy is getting the shaft because of the resources that they sunk into Armadillo guy.
Mm-hmm.
Armadillomon.
It's true. It's true. But I like that he does look cheap, but he looks cheap on purpose, you know?
Yeah, he has personality. He reminds me of those it's like those robots from the black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They're endearing. Or like our old buddy K9.
True. What a good dog.
What a good dog indeed.
So, we in the TARDIS, the Doctor has absolutely no time for Adric's BS. Which I love how much he just can't stand Adric. It's my favorite thing.
He is this is like a story-wide note, but I guess it starts in episode 1, but the Doctor is very much in single dad at an amusement park mode. In this story.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
He just doesn't have time for why doesn't Nissa like me? No one likes you. Fix yourself. And just no patience for this tiny little genius boy.
I think it makes sense that I guess I've never realized that Eric Sayward actually wrote this, because it makes sense. The two things that I hate the most about the Sayward era are the bickering and other people flying the TARDIS, which happens later.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. You hate
really
that
do.
so much. And I'm definitely not critical of it, but it is something that I always associate with. Oh yeah, Cass hates that. And
I would say, but I would say if anyone is going to fly the TARDIS, I think that there are two people that are acceptable, right? Obviously the Master, but that doesn't count because
Right.
Time Lord. But of two companion type people, there's only two
J.K.
that I find acceptable.
J.K. Rowling.
No. J.K. Rowling, not a character on the show yet.
But theoretically, if that happened, I would absolutely be okay with her piloting.
That's fair. No, I'm fine with Clara, because Clara did that whole thing where she jumped into the Doctor's timeline and everything. So I'm okay with her, because I assume she sucked up some kind of TARDIS knowledge in that process.
Yeah, really kind of a proto-Brawn, now that I think about it.
And I'm sort of okay with Adric piloting it, because he's a math genius.
I just detest anything Adric does, so I guess that's also part of the problem.
Look, that is neither here nor there, and I don't disagree with that.
Wait, so River Song isn't even on that list?
Well, River Song is Time Lord. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
Gotcha. She
Isk,
belongs in
Esk,
Time
Esk.
Lord gobbledygook group of.
Yeah, she's going there
That
when she
mass.
dies.
Yeah.
She's going to that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I for whatever reason it doesn't super bother me, because Adric is supposed to be a math genius. It doesn't bother me that he figures out how to pilot the TARDIS. I don't like that Nyssa can, though. That bothers me. Because she's not like... I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. She's not like a brilliant scientist, right?
I mean, she makes that machine.
Is she? Yeah.
And then, like, Adric doesn't know
and she's
what
royalty.
to do when, like, helping her. She's like...
Yeah, but see... But that's the thing, right? It's like... I don't know. I don't like that
Nyssa
there's...
is more of a mechanical, like, engineering smarts, and Adric is more, like, theoretical mathematics.
Oh. Well, then together, like the power of two, they can figure out how to drive the TARDIS.
That's the joke, is that Nyssa hates Adric. I think they all do. I do think Nyssa is definitely the least antagonistic towards Adric.
Mm-hmm. Like, she has the most patience, but she generally just has more patience than like any other companion ever. She has a lot of patience. All right, so we're jumping way ahead to part 4. Okay, so the Doctor is upset with Adric. Adric
for almost wiping out the Kinda.
Right, Adric is upset that the Doctor's upset, and the Doctor is annoyed that he's upset that the Doctor's upset.
Mommy's all right, Daddy's all right.
Yeah,
they just seem a little weird.
But meanwhile, so Tegan's really excited because she thinks she's going to get dropped off in Australia. Like no time has passed. But the TARDIS, being what it is, obviously doesn't land where it's supposed to, and she's really annoyed.
Or does it? Wink.
Right. Well, she gets really annoyed and leaves the TARDIS, and there's this moment that's super weird. Okay. And feels wrong. Okay, so let me ask you guys what you think about this. So after Tegan leaves the TARDIS, she throws a big fit about not being in Australia and leaves. And the Doctor is basically like, I mean, I can't do anything about it. It's not my fault. The TARDIS does what it wants. And Nyssa is it's like, oh, come on, you need to go talk to her. She's obviously very upset. And he's like, how is that my problem? And they just look at him. And he's like, ugh, Earthlings. And then leaves. And I'm like, neither of the people you're talking to are Earthlings.
That's true.
They're both aliens.
It's a very, like, trailer joke. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. It only bothers me. The joke itself doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that he's referring to two aliens as Earthlings.
Yeah, no, and that's of anyone who wouldn't make that mistake.
Right. Yeah. But, Eric Sayward. He does what he wants. Whatever's going to make the bickering happen. That's all he cares about.
Oh, the bickering, though. Like, it's not so bad in this one, but it gets so much worse.
Uh-huh.
It really does kind of... I know this crew has been critical of the... the kind of too cutesy... because I guess the antithesis of this would be like the... I don't know. I just think of the Russell T Davies era. Everyone's like hugging,
mm-hmm.
Or even like we could be kind of not the biggest fans of like the Pawns,
yeah.
But they were always bantering,
mm-hmm.
and as opposed to bickering,
mm-hmm.
which is so much more constructive, I think.
Well, I would argue that Eric Sayward probably believes he's writing banter,
but then it comes off
oh, right, yeah.
Isn't that the director's fault though?
Well, I mean, I guess you could blame him, but I don't know how you would turn all of this bickering into banter.
That's true.
I mean, it really just seems like bickering. I'm saying Eric Sayward's not a great character writer.
What if after every time the three companions bickered, they had to end it with like a wink and they had to like touch hips?
It's weird.
Just
all
like
right,
boppy. They give a little bop.
Yeah, little bop.
And that's they are children, and I've never felt that so viscerally than in this story, like more than any companion, which is weird because they've, the Susan's whatever. We're still unpacking that, but like these are just they're so childish, even like Nyssa and Tegan, that it really does feel like the Doctor is just like in Bebe's kids.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry for mentioning Bebe's kids on a Doctor Who podcast.
Hey, I'm for it. I used to watch that all the time. Yeah, so he goes outside to apologize to Tegan. They get attacked by some dudes in the woods, and
bandits.
And Five puts on some Pertwee moves, takes them out. Adric does that thing where he gets behind one of them and gets on the ground, and then Tegan and Nyssa push the guy over Adric.
Again, like children in a Santa Claus movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, actually, you know what? Davison and his companions are I feel like are like the closest to Santa Claus and his elves that Doctor Who has ever gotten.
It is just the reason I because I haven't said this yet, but I really did enjoy this story. Is it is so much more fun and playful than the last two that we've covered, which have been very like apocalyptic and dire.
True.
So it was a fun change. Yeah. So they trip up some bandits in the woods.
Yeah. They run for it. They meet up with the actor guy, who is pretty great.
The best character in this story.
Is Richard Mace the best character, like the best one-off character that we've come across since Pex?
Oh gosh.
Ooh, yes. I definitely think he's so different from Pex, but in some ways he's even more of a companion or a foil to the Doctor than Pex was.
Yeah. Yeah. They're actually literally the opposite, because Pex, like Richard Mace is like all about like I don't walk anywhere, I don't do anything. And Pex is like literally like smashing through walls with his manliness.
Yeah, I'm so like look at my stunts, look at my punches.
His name is literally Pex.
Yeah.
Did they
actually, oh my god, can we write the spin-off of Pex and Richard Mace?
Oh, Pex and Mace.
Can we go pitch that to Big Finish, please?
Oh my god, please. Holy crap. Do you know?
Oh, the Pex and Richard Mace adventures. I think that should be our first t-shirt.
Pex and Mace.
Oh, man.
You can't cut through that door. I will punch through this door. Oh, he did it. He did it again.
Do you know if he got the same actor to do this? The Richard Mace character as the audio plays, because this guy has a great voice.
Yeah, it doesn't say in the information that I have, so I do not know for sure. But I don't think so. I feel like if they had, that would have come up in this.
Because as soon as you said audio plays, like it made sense, because this actor has like a voice that's made for like audio plays. I feel like he's really good.
It could be. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sort of in that grand tradition of like John Hurt, or like he's in that generation of actors that were just able to make everything like sing.
Classically trained.
Yeah. So Richard Mace was an actor, but has since resorted to basically becoming a highwayman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a bandit, and maybe presumably even like a killer.
Yeah. He takes them to his barn, where he's hiding out. Yeah. That's actually, whenever I think of this story, that's what I think of, is like Richard, like a out of work actor in a barn. That's what I think of.
Yeah.
I feel like we spend a lot of time with Richard Mason Barnes in this story.
We really do. Also, he didn't, the out of work actors, correctly so, have a reputation for being like, untalented or like lazy, but he is an out of work actor because of the bubonic plague.
Right.
the plague literally like killed a third of the planet or something.
Right.
I know that's like Alex Jones level of like historical accuracy, but like, just, I don't know. There's something so endearing about a man who's like, well, they all died, so I just became a highwayman.
Right.
The most gentlemanly of thieves.
Yeah. You know this guy is like just like wooing widows like left and right. You know, like
just Cyrano de Bergeracing the shit out of like everything.
Yeah, just like widows like running like the local tavern or something. Like,
hello,
yeah, this guy.
Anon.
That's what I imagine what his life was before then.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm a big fan of Richard Mace. He's pretty great.
Richard Mace, he's pretty great.
He's pretty great. So yeah, I mean the rest of this is basically like Richard Mace is like, hey, like we should go to this mansion place and go check this out. So they go there, and then the Doctor gets distracted by a cool wall, like literally a wall. He like finds a wall and he's like, "Oh, this is interesting," and and his companions are like, "Neat, we're gonna keep walking." And then they keep going, and they're like, what? Why isn't the Doctor coming? He's like, he's distracted by a wall. I don't know. It's weird. He's weird. And then they go back for him, but he's not there anymore. And then they get locked in the hallway by the heavy breathing dude.
The Shape. Yeah.
They get locked in like this hallway that is like stairways into a wall. And they're like, Doctor? And then that's our cliffhanger, which is...
the dumbest cliffhanger.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb, but it's worth it for the payoff in episode 2.
The Visitation Part 2. Written by Eric Seward. Directed by Peter Moffat. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Anthony Root. Air date February 16th, 1982. The Doctor reappears through what is revealed to be not a wall, but a holographic energy barrier. Everyone joins the Doctor inside the cellar, where they find caged rats and a machine emitting soliton gas. The group is then attacked by an android dressed as a skeleton, stunning Tegan and much more easily stunning Adric. Adric and Tegan awaken to be questioned by a Terileptil about the Doctor. Meanwhile, the Doctor and the others find the armadillo lizard's ship, but are soon attacked by the villagers from before. The group escape into the woods to find the TARDIS with the villagers still in pursuit. Nyssa begins to construct a sonic booster that they believe the android who likes to dress as a skeleton will be destroyed by. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Richard Mace steal a horse and begin to ride it back to the manor, but are captured by the villagers, who believe the Doctor and Richard Mace to be plague carriers, which statistically may be correct, and decide to execute them.
So episode 2 starts with the Doctor literally just popping out of the wall and being like, yes?
Hello?
Because the wall's a hologram. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's amazing.
I'll never leave you. Santa will never leave his babies.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
I'm the nice one.
So yeah, this episode. There's like a lot of really good stuff in this episode. I think it might be episode 2 and episode 4 might be my 2 favorites. I think of
if
these.
You have to choose.
But I like episode 2. I like that. I like the bit where Richard Mace finds like a barrel of beer and he's drinking it, and Adric's like, "What's that taste like?" And he says nectar, and he goes, "Oh, what's that taste like?" I'm just like, "Oh, you stupid child, you stupid ignorant child,
you dumb genius."
I love it. I love it. It's so good. And then one of my favorite lines, and I'm sure that it it was meant to be like a gross misogynistic thing, but I just took it as like Tegan's a really kind of like dumb, goofy character. But the bit where she gets kidnapped by the fish armadillo, and the fish armadillo says, "You're being a very stupid woman," and she goes, "That's not the first time I've heard that," or "That's not a very original observation." Which I'm just like, oh, poor Tegan.
You know, yeah, like bringing it back to this not being banter, there are some like grade A flame emojis.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And we'll get to them as they happen, but just
oh man,
something I wanted to point out.
That's not a very original observation. Oh God. This, I'll be honest, this might be Tegan at her absolute best is in this story.
Oh, really?
I love her in this. I think she's great.
I was gonna say, like, I feel bad for Tegan, even though I don't really like Tegan all that much, because, like, we just like this picks up right after Kinda, so like her brain's been invaded, and she's like, oh, that's weird, and then she gets kidnapped and interrogated by like a fish lizard.
Right,
yeah, but that was kind of the companion lot back then.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm starting to gather, is that they really were captured and brainwashed like a lot more than the revival has shown.
There's something about like the added element of Tegan being told she would be going home, and now she's just not having any of this. And there's
she
something,
wants to go back to Heathrow.
Yeah, there's something that I just really love about Tegan being fed up with all this, with all of this time travel on this MFing TARDIS.
That's fair.
Like,
I just feel bad for her. Let her have a good day.
I know. And I mean, she does have good stories, like in other ones, in other episodes. I mean, she's great in Enlightenment, but there's something about this particular Tegan that I'm a big fan of.
She's like the right kind of grumpy.
Mm-hmm. She's
and I don't mean as a person, but like as a character.
I think this episode is Tegan at her most Donna.
Okay.
Ha! Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that. Yeah. So that's good. I love Richard Mace being tired and the Doctor just constantly threatening to leave him behind. Big fan of that. Not for a highwayman, he really doesn't like walking. Says he's not built for it. It's really sad. But I don't know. What else you guys got for this episode?
I thought it was very out of character for the Doctor to just straight up leave his unconscious companions behind. Or like not even take one of them. Just like, all right, well, I'll leave both of them.
Oh, see, the for some reason that struck me as like quintessentially
really?
Doctor. Where it's like, I'll run into them, man.
Everything will work out. It's fine. I'm the Doctor.
When have I never not seen one of these like buttheads again after like leaving them in the woods or in a temple built by aliens?
About 2 stories from now.
Somebody dies.
And I really like
starts with an A.
the end of the episode where it's like execute them, and the Doctor's just like, not again, and then that's just how it ends.
Yeah. Not again.
Because you're watching it as a viewer, and you're like, yeah, I know.
Same.
Seriously. So sick of this cliffhanger. Yeah. The execution threat cliffhanger, it wears on you after a while. It definitely
beheading
does.
to be specific.
Yeah. But just in general, executions, it's all the time. It's like at least once a story. It seems like one of the.
It's probably not even the first time it's happened to Richard Mace.
It's
Probably.
true.
He seems like someone that's like run away from his own like execution, like Jack Sparrow style.
Yeah. He is a little Jack Sparrow-y, isn't he?
Yeah. Like in the first one, before it wasn't fun.
Oh my god. Okay. Furthering our spin-off
Okay.
idea. Richard Mace as a pirate captain with Hex as his first mate.
Absolutely. He puts the seven seas to rights.
Yeah. Pix, take those barrels of rum and put them in my chambers.
I'll do it like kicking soccer balls.
Try not to destroy my door this time.
Oh my god. Okay, we have to get to the bit where they escape. Where the doctor I know that's not in part 2. But.
All right. Well, that's part 3. So anything else for part 2?
I didn't have a lot of notes. It's just a lot of fun. It's like running around and like escaping and avoiding townspeople and
Yeah, it's a lark.
Yeah. I do love that the townspeople are in a perpetual state of the third act of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, they have no chill at all.
No. They're just like, I mean, we're just standing around with these torches.
But are we just gonna sit here and wait until he does?
No, we're gonna find people to run out of town.
Who are you?
I love it.
Town.
Is it which episode is it revealed that that the fish armadillos are responsible for the plague rats? That the bubonic plague is like an alien virus that they let loose.
I think that the Doctor finds rats in the basement in part 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's their plan. Is they're gonna like take over Earth by killing all the humans by using an alien virus. That is later named the bubonic plague.
The plague still exists, but they like genetically engineer it so it's like super plague. So that's what they're putting in the little vials, and they want to like distribute it. Go free, my little rat friends.
Yes, rat friends.
Rats.
All right.
What was it called? What was the original episode called? Rat Plague.
That was the second. That was the second title.
Plague rats.
The first one was Invasion of the Plague Men.
Oh, okay. Do you imagine just watching new Doctor Who intro and it's like, Rat Plague?
Rat Plague. Yeah, I
like
know.
Treehouse of Horror font.
I know. That's what I was saying earlier. Be
That's
something
funny.
else. So episode 3,
The Visitation, Part 3. Written by Eric Sayward. Directed by Peter Moffat. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Anthony Root. Air date February 22nd, 1982. The armadillo lizard sends villagers under his control to save the Doctor and Richard Mace from execution, locking them inside of an old mill. The armadillo lizard places a bracelet on Tegan identical to ones worn by Richard Mace and the villagers. Adric escaped, I guess, and is now helping Nyssa build a sonic booster. The android is now dressed like a Grim Reaper and takes the Doctor and Richard Mace back to the manor where Tegan is now under the armadillo lizard's control. The armadillo lizard tells the Doctor that its plan is to kill all life on Earth and rule over the Earth after no people are on it. The lizard then destroys the Doctor's beloved sonic screwdriver, never to be seen again in the history of the series. The lizard explains that it will wipe out humanity using plague-infested fleas to infest rats, who will then infest the humans infesting Earth. Controlled by the bracelet, Tegan opens a cage carrying the plague-infested fleas who are now infesting the rats.
So the group elder just like shows up and he's like, "Don't do this," and they're like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I want to do it later." They're like,
Seems legit.
I mean, we could just do it now. It's like, no. Why are you sassing me, boy? I'm the elder of the group. And he's like, all right, chill.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's like, cool, put him in a cell. And they do. And, like, that's how they get out of it. Like, it's...
And, yeah. And Richard Mace is like, well, I'm going to die in here, just like I never wanted to. And the Doctor's like, oh, hold on. And how does he get a gun? Who gives him a gun?
Oh, that you're thinking that's in part 4, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
part
Oh, that's in
because
part
another
4.
that's
Okay.
another room.
I'm
that
sorry,
they're trapped in.
They're trapped in a lot of rooms, and they all look
Yeah.
the same. To be
It's
fair
like
to
the
you,
same 3 rooms, just like the
it's like
set is rotated.
Thank you.
yeah, they take 3 walls and they just resituate the walls. And they're like, it's a new room, and we're all collectively going, is it? Because we actually don't know. So the Nissa in the TARDIS, and she's just like moving furniture around, which she's like making. She's like, well, I'm gonna have to make room for this bomb, and I'm like, I'm just like watching. It was like, script come in a little light there, Eric
Right?
Sayward.
Yeah, like what? I don't know, man. I'm constant, and I get it. I get that limited resources and the work that they've been able to do is insane still, and so much of it holds up. That being said, the premise of the show, I think, can do more than just like how many rooms do they need to be locked in one story?
I don't know. I mean, it happens in Classic Who a lot. Like either the Doctor or the companion just getting trapped, because it's also like trying to figure out how to stretch your story out over like 4 or multiple parts. You know? So if you don't have a really good premise with a lot of stuff also happening in like the B and C plots, it's just a lot of people stuck in locked rooms.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I get what Scott was saying. It feels light.
Yeah. So she's moving furniture around, and my note is basically just like, this is the most 1980s furniture I've ever seen. Like, it feels like they took it off the set of Goodfellas, and just moved it into here. Like, it is just, everything is like glass and gold, and I'm like, yeah, that was considered like high class in the 80s, is glass and gold furniture. Yeah.
It was a different time.
Or glass and brass, I guess.
Brass, and ass.
Brass and glass. But yeah, it's super 80s furniture. Like furniture that was new in the 80s. Whereas like if you watch 80s movies, usually the furniture in the 80s movies are from the 70s. But this is like, if you bought new furniture in the 80s, this is what it looked like. It's like, I don't know. I was like, it's weird to see this, like, you know, contemporary for the time furniture.
Sure.
In the TARDIS. Like, it's just so weird and out of place. Also, their bedroom is right off the control room. The console room.
That's so funny. I guess I'd never thought about, because that bed is so ugly.
Yeah, it's super ugly. Yeah. Has a matching shelf, though.
Of course. Naturally.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, they're not animals.
So the sonic screwdriver gets destroyed in this episode. And the doctor's like, it's like I've lost an old friend. And I'm like, I mean, you'd go and make another one if you were really that concerned about it. I guess they hadn't decided that the TARDIS could do that yet, but sure. I do like that as a thing that changed in Modern Who. You know, as a element, was it Moffat who invented that idea that the TARDIS can like build a sonic screwdriver?
Because, isn't that an 11th hour thing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know it's in the 11th hour. What I mean is, like, I don't remember it happening prior to that. Yeah, so I really like that. I think that's
don't the
cool.
9th and the 10th Doctor have the same sonic, right? Or very similar?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I think it's supposed to be exactly the same. There are people who disagree and say they're different. No,
it's the blue light up tip instead of the weird like thing that Matt Smith has. So it's the same thing.
Exactly. I think it's the same thing.
We're kind of like
The claw.
Aw.
The
It
claw.
moves.
I like that. That's,
So
that's got to be on YouTube, right?
probably somewhere. So this this cliffhanger is the Doctor and Richard Mace together again in another cell or just another room. I don't know. They're locked in another room, and Fish Armadillo puts a cage in their room and is like has a hypnotized Tegan, or is like controlling Tegan with the little like mind control armband thing, and is like saying like open this case really slowly, and inside the little cage, are plague rats, and if he lets them out, they're gonna get the plague and die.
Plague Rats also carries the tradition of Doctor Who names that would be good punk bands.
That's true. The Plague Rats, that's
Nice.
pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty nice punk band name for sure. I like that. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts on episode 3?
Think about everything punk rock stands for and like represents. Adric is the opposite of that. I think Adric is the least punk thing I can.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that kid shows up at a punk show and everyone is just like, oh, he's a monarch. He's a total narc.
Yeah,
Get him out of here.
Doogie Howser of
Yeah,
narcs.
get him out of here. The Doogie Howser of narcs. I don't even know what that means.
Just because he's
Doogie
young?
Howser was like a kid doctor.
Oh.
So like,
So he's the kid doctor of narcs?
yeah, he's a narc who. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I for some reason in my brain, narc meant like an undercover cop, and not just like someone who's gonna like tap.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, okay, so then Jump Street probably should have been a better.
Yeah, he's in Jump Street,
Yeah.
basically.
Although I guess Jump Street is the opposite of Doogie Howser.
Oh, yeah, because they're older people
Yeah.
pretending to be
Right.
young.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Doogie Howser wasn't pretending to be
Right.
old. I mean, he was very upfront about his
Yeah.
age.
All right. I'll back you. I'll back it.
Okay, I don't even know what point I'm making.
I'm
anymore.
on board. So yeah. Any other thoughts on episode 3?
I don't think so.
This was a
Yes,
sparse one,
yeah.
I think.
Do
Very
we?
sparse.
You know, since the sonic screwdriver has come back, I've rarely been like, oh, come on. Like it's rarely been groan inducing for me.
I don't think it was ever groan inducing. I think it's way more groan inducing if you introduce the Doctor having magic pockets.
Sure.
Hasn't
Like, you know what we could use to get out of this situation? A tuna fish sandwich. Good thing I've got one in my
Hasn't he always
pocket.
had magic pockets though? Because isn't that like Tom Baker's shtick? Like,
Well, yeah, but
That was weird.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't really have magic pockets in that one. He just has like a bunch of like garbage in his
yeah,
pockets.
I mean it's like Hagrid's coat. Like he's just got like 50 million pockets, and just like random crap
Cakes.
in it.
I'm not.
Cakes with different children's names spelt wrong.
I like that they've simplified that to the psychic paper and
Yeah,
the sonic
I agree.
screwdriver. I like that because it's just more like iconic Doctor Who. It's not like he's just like a street
Yeah. Well, 'cause,
magician
like,
or something.
That's why I ask, because I associate like doctors pulling random crap out of their pockets with Tom Baker, because that's usually like his
Right.
MO.
Right. Yeah. All right. Episode 4.
The Visitation, Part 4, written by Eric Sayward, directed by Peter Moffat, produced by John Nathan Turner, script edited by Anthony Root, air date February 23rd, 1982. The Doctor disables Tegan's bracelet. The armadillo lizard leaves to infect a nearby city, sending the android who likes dressing like skeletons best of all to deal with the TARDIS. Richard Mace tells the others that the city to be infested is London, the most important city in the Doctor Who universe. the android wearing a Grim Reaper costume arrives, but is quickly dispatched by the sonic booster, finished by Nyssa despite the help of Adric. Using the scanner that Adric so foolishly dropped back in episode 1, the Doctor locates the armadillo lizard only to be attacked by 2 additional armadillo lizards. During the fight, the Doctor knocks over a torch, which falls onto some hay, thus accidentally starting the Great Fire of London. Accidentally. The Doctor and his children throw the gas container into the inferno with the armadillo lizard still inside, leaving them to burn alive. Back on the TARDIS, his companion suggests that perhaps they should go back and help put out the fire. The Doctor refuses, because that's just not how these things work. Good night, everybody.
So one thing we haven't talked about, but I have to bring it up in this one, is the android wearing a skull mask because he's pretending to be the Grim Reaper. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in Doctor Who.
Great. Yes. But also, like, surprisingly, really on brand for Halloween season.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's actually true, yeah. That would be... I think if anyone went to a Doctor Who convention dressed as...
The robot dressed as the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, the fish armadillo android dressed as the Grim Reaper, I
That's
would
amazing.
bow down to them. Because that would be the most amazing costume ever. No, I love it. Like, I love that he's just, like, strolling up to the TARDIS, still wearing his mask. And it's just like a Halloween face mask. Like, it's just like a little, like, plastic skull mask that he has on the front of his robot helmet, his robot head. Oh, it's great. I love it so much. Yeah. Now, see, if the Cybermen had been dressed like this, then I would have understood that oh, that's why he thinks they're the Piper.
Piper!
The Piper!
He was cute. See, why can't Adric be like that?
No one can be like Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jamie's a special little boy.
You know, the Doctor could really use an overhaul. Maybe now with 13, maybe she can have kind of like a Nanny McPhee thing going on, where she like takes rowdy, rough boys and like turns them into like
that'd be great. I would love that.
time heroes. Yeah.
So Nyssa has been building this thing for 3 episodes, in the TARDIS, and basically like this. Okay. I'll be honest, I lost the thread as far as, like, why she was building it in the first place.
It's like
she's
a
building
giant
this thing.
sonic screwdriver.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But then the robot comes toward the TARDIS, and Adric tries to stop him from getting in, but he beats down Adric and gets his mask torn off, and he's real upset about it because he was having fun playing dress up. But then he goes into the TARDIS, and then as soon as he walks in, Nyssa turns on the sonic device, which turns into, like, the Xavier seizure from Logan.
With the camera just shaking.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And then it kills the android, and she's real upset about it, and Adric's like, why are you upset? He was going to kill you. And he's like, but it wasn't his fault. He was just programmed that way. I was just like, oh, man, he wasn't alive, Nyssa. He was an idiot. He was a robot.
Nyssa and I have opposite feelings on robots. Because Nyssa loves robots, and I hate robots. Let it die.
She does love robots. You know what? It is a travesty that Nyssa never met K9.
Oh, man.
Let's have that spin-off.
Well, I think it's a tragedy that...
Yeah.
Well, there already was, and I
wanted
to do a podcast about it.
Nyssa meets Sarah Jane and K9, and they go on adventures together. Yeah. That'd be fun. But yeah, and then that's the end of the Sonic device thing. Like, why did she spend 3 episodes building this?
To get rid of the shooty robot? I don't know.
That she didn't know was gonna be coming to the TARDIS?
I don't know.
Okay, so there's a thing in boxing, well, not in fighting in general, but and I'm not like condescending, but just in case you guys don't know, but it's called the weigh-in, where like they have to the fighters have to get on a scale in front of like reporters and everything, and it's usually like a photo op.
Right. I remember that.
And
sometime,
yes, of course, and sometimes if a fighter is like nervous about not being heavy enough to qualify for their division, or vice versa, they'll like lose weight if they're like worried about being too much. They'll like pack on. Basically, what I'm saying is the script is even lighter than it appears originally, because then you realize how much of it is already padding.
Yeah, but because like this whole Sonic device and the TARDIS thing, I mean, it's literally the equivalent of like boxers putting leads in their pockets for the weigh-in.
Yeah, totally.
It's such a weird, thing. Because it goes nowhere. I mean, how did she know the robot was going to come? Like, they obviously didn't want the android to come into the TARDIS because Adric tried to stop it, so It wasn't a trap. It just. This is weird idea.
It literally just took time up. It just ran the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, as soon they kill the android, and they're like, "Well, I guess we should go save the Doctor and Tegan." And then they try to make the TARDIS go, and it won't go. And this is like, "Well, what would the Doctor do?" And Adric is like, "Oh, right." And then he punches the console, and then it works.
"Oh, brilliant!"
Yeah.
But she doesn't even sound like.
No, it's more like, oh, brilliant.
What does the Doctor always do with me?
Oh no.
I'm kidding.
There is a really good moment though when the TARDIS is having trouble appearing in front of the Doctor, and Tegan goes, "You should really get that crate serviced," Like, I love that she refers to it as a crate because it's a box, and I love when Doctor companions refer to the TARDIS, which is just this absolutely incredible machine, as a hunk of junk. I'm a big fan of it.
Well, I love that scene where the robot breaks into the TARDIS, because you can tell how old the prop is, because it's like 2 seconds from falling over. Like, the doors fly open, and it just like shudders, like the whole thing.
Yeah. Do they get a new prop with?
I think so.
6? Did 6 get a new? Yeah, because his TARDIS is like a really almost a powder blue, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they're nearing the end of that whole situation. So I like that, and then we basically everything comes to a close by them following the fish armadillos to London, and they go inside like this bakery where they're hiding out.
My favorite Warren Zevon song is Armadillo Lizards of London.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Doctor shooting the lock off the door, which I assume is what Nick wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Bad ass. I never miss. The Doctor, I am all about the Doctor using guns as tools. I just think that's so perfect. Like, that he can look at a gun and be like, okay.
That's the second time he's done that this season of the show, of TDC.
Yeah.
Because 3 did that with in Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I do.
There's almost something
that.
like,
I think, I like that too. That's a good point, Nick.
It's like logical, but it's also like like rebellious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I'm not going to use this thing the way that you would think it. I'm going to use it this way.
Right. No, that's good. I like that. I quite like that. Yeah, so then they go to London. They go to the bakery, which is apparently historically accurate that the Great Fire of London started in a bakery. So I guess good on Eric Sayward for dating
Historical
a woman who did all that
accuracy.
work, all that research,
And then just using it.
and then just using it. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm not saying Richard Mace caused the London fire. I'm not saying that. But did he make it worse?
I think that's entirely possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a thing with the Davison era, is that they keep finding themselves at the cusp of a historical event and then learning that they are, in fact, the cause of said historical event.
Yeah. That's always fun.
And, yeah, so I do like the audacity of suggesting that the Great Fire of London and the bubonic plague are like kind of intrinsically linked through a Doctor Who story.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
So yeah, like it's really just a fun ride.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Even the
definitely-
padding
Yeah, it's
isn't like
entertaining.
exhausting. Like it's entertaining padding at the very
I think
least.
it also helps that it's only 4 episodes,
And,
too,
you know-
instead of like 7.
Mm-hmm. Right.
that was cool. Yeah.
I know.
And
It's been a while.
And compared to, and it's hard to remember. It took me a minute, but it's like a little bit more sci-fi than Kendo, which was like basically fantasy, which is not something that I'm like against on Doctor Who, clearly, but it was like a cool like like a plague and like aliens. All right.
Yeah. Like it. I think of the one-off villains that I would love to see brought back in New Who, I think the fish armadillos are near the top of the list.
I would love for
I
them
just
to
love
look
them.
like how they wanted them to look in this. Like,
Yeah.
kind of like how with BB-8, they were like, oh, now we can do like a
Yeah.
ball, a droid that's a ball. Like, I would like to see what these were meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would love the fish armadillos to come back. And, I mean, the top of the list is probably the monk.
Yes. Aw. I always forget about him.
Which, yeah, I know. Who you haven't met yet, Nick, but you will, and he's pretty great. And the top of the list would probably be the monk and the Ronnie, but I like these fish armadillos.
I think they're mentioned
They're
a
fun,
couple
and
times.
they've got kooky android
I think
assistants.
they're mentioned a
That's
couple
fun.
times in New Who.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like when they just like somebody randomly
Yeah,
spouts
yeah.
off some like alien species.
I think
Yeah.
in the first Matt Smith finale, the Pandorica one, where River Song's just like reading off all the different races and stuff, and I'm like, oh hey, Terileptil from that one episode.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would want
They're
them to
cool.
be
They are
in New
cool.
Who though, because I feel like the design is kind of similar to, it's like Silurians and Ice Warriors squished together, kind of.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that story?
That being
We
said,
squished them together.
but that being said, it's
Oh,
a
no.
horrible Dalek experiment. The
Science?
Daleks, the
Question mark.
Daleks. It's an episode directed
Is
by
this
Tim
science?
Burton. It's an episode directed by Tim Burton, and they've gone
Oh
full
my
Mars
gosh.
Attacks.
Yeah.
They're just experimenting on.
Oh my god, two Daleks on top of one another disguised as a woman.
Be amazing. What was I gonna say? Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
I don't remember. Anyway, womp womp. So I do. I really like this story. I think it's fun. Even the padding is pretty fun. It is. I think it's unfortunate that this is the only story to ever be completely written by Eric Sayward, because I think that him being script editor and not being able to get credit for being a writer or getting to write a script from page one, I think sent him down a path of becoming more and more disgruntled and vindictive. Yeah, I honestly think it turned him into a bad person. Because I think he just got tired of having all of these other people get to write stuff and him not get to write anything.
Became a real Eric Seaward.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'll get to talk about Eric Sayward again next week.
I can't.
Can't wait.
When we talk about...
No.
Dragon Bones.
No. The Mark of the Rani.
Oh, the Mark of... Oh, I got it backwards. Okay.
Yeah. The Mark of the Rani. Which will be the last time we ever talk about the Rani. Or Rani's story. Unless she comes back in New Who. But...
It will 100% not be the last time we talk about the Rani.
Is there a Rani story in Big Finish?
Yes, but just recently, I think. So it would be a really long time before we would get to it. And I forget which Doctor it is.
Never mind.
I know.
I think it's 7.
That makes sense.
I'm pretty sure.
I know we haven't recorded it yet, but can we call the episode Run, Ronnie, Run?
We don't title episodes anymore.
I know, but can we just do it for that one?
Oh, boy. Run, Ronnie. Run, Rudolph.
Run. That has to be. That has to exist, right?
I don't know. If the Doctor in Distress exists, why not Run, Ronnie? Anyway, go check out our Facebook group. We post things about Doctor Who there and talk about stuff. So go check that out. It's just the Doctor's Companion Listeners Society. There's a link to it in the show notes, so go check that out and check out our other shows. I guess we don't plug those enough. Spider-Man Minute is ending this week. Thanks. First season, and then Nick and I's new show, the Cornetto Minute, where we're going to be talking about Shaun of the Dead 1 minute at a time, starts up the week after. So that means that we've covered all of Spaced. So if you like Spaced, you should go subscribe to the Cornetto Minute and go listen to the backlog of 14 episodes of us covering Spaced. Yeah. Nick has no opinion on our show, apparently.
I'm a fan.
It's fine. I mean, it's fine.
No, it's fine. Our website was down, but now it's back up, so you can go on it.
The website was down?
Yeah, before we started recording, duelinggenre.com wasn't the link wasn't working, but now everything's back to normal.
Oh. Okay.
That's good.
And Cass, when is
I haven't announced it yet. But next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Next year, right?
Let me enjoy my vacation.
All right, fair enough. Take your time. Yeah. Take your goddamn time.
Don't take this from me.
It's fine.
Don't take
Settle
this
down
from
over there. Yeah. So settle down over there with your full year of podcasting.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Chill out. Have a good holiday. All right. Well, I think that's it. We will be back next week to talk about the Mark of the Rani.
Our time has Ronnied out.
It's another historical one.
Well, that's true.
Oh, good. I love
true.
those. I love when they try to make these work historically.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, it's mostly
Yeah,
just
there's,
boring. I think.
Dirty peasants and like mining riots.
Yeah, right. Dirty peasants.
It's like,
Right.
yeah.
Mining riots?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Boring?
Well, you'll find
I'll
out.
see.